Welcome out to Spillane Field for the Gatemen Pregame Show presented by South Coast Health. I'm Sam Corman, joined by Jacob Toby and Connor Federico, the Gatemen broadcast team this year. And it's been a busy weekend with the All-Star game, the Fenway workout yesterday, but also sandwiched between two games against the YD Red Sox, both at Red Wilson Field. Both were losses for Wareham. What could have been better in those games?
I think the biggest takeaway from those two losses were the defensive errors. I mean, the Gatemen, they committed 4 errors in the loss to YD just the other day, and it really, along with YD hitting, sort of spelled the end of the Gatemen winning streak and sort of transitioned them back to a time where they were a little more mediocre, I'd say, on this, hovering around 500. That's sort of the team that the Gatemen have become again. That's a streak they'll try to get back out of tonight. But I think the hitting was okay. The hitting was okay, especially against YD pitchers who are very talented, had 4 in the All-Star game. My problem basically was just the defensive play. I didn't think the pitching was too bad either. 2 pitchers, Will Neely and Fitzpatrick Stadler, made mistakes by throwing the ball into center field on a double play attempt. But other than that, I really thought the pitching was okay, and it was the defense mostly that was the problem.
And do you think the hitting needs to get more consistent after this weekend's performances?
I think so. I mean, only one player had more than 1 hit in the last game versus YD, and that was Tanner Dotson, who had a pretty good day, I would say, and he's been on a hot streak this whole season. So, yeah, I mean, you win 5 in a row, then you lose these next 2 in a row. That's kind of how the season had been going for the Wareham game, and they could put together 2 wins and lose about 2 or 3. They finally get to, 5 wins in a row, and they can't sustain that against a YD team which is second in the Eastern Division, which is pretty damn good.
They're really, really good. I think that's the biggest takeaway from this weekend, how good Orleans and YD really are.
Exactly.
I mean, YD's won 11 of 12 now with those 2 wins against the Gatemen. More positive thinking, the Gatemen Fenway workout yesterday, pretty cool stuff. You were there. How did you like it?
Well, it was a bit rainy and a bit muggy.
It wasn't a bit rainy. It was a lot of rainy. It's so much rainy that the tarp was on the field.
Nobody got to go on the field, which is sort of a disappointment from these players. But at the moment they all walked into Fenway, probably an hour and a half before they got to hit down in the cages below the clubhouse at Fenway, I think they really had a great experience taking pictures, taking videos. I mean, just enjoying the Fenway atmosphere, a place where you can really feel baseball history. And I think it was just an incredible experience for the players. There's no reason that any one of these guys can't make it back there someday.
And we kind of touched on this on the radio show on Sunday, but the All-Star game was Saturday. Spillane Field was rocking. It was an incredible job by everyone with the Wareham Gatemen organization to put it on. I mean, what was your favorite part about Saturday?
Well, let me just credit Tom Crane, who did an amazing job organizing the All-Star game his second time in 3 years. You saw the attendance shoot over 7,000, which is 2,000 more than it had seen in 2015. So I like the attendance numbers. I like the atmosphere. It was really well set up. Everything was all in order. The food, the clothing section, the bathrooms were all tidy in order. I mean, everything you need to see that they're the little things, they were set in order. And the game was really good, too. A nice comeback from the Eastern Division to win the game by a couple runs. And, we saw a lot of great pitching. We saw a lot of great hitting. We saw Griffin Conine hit one well over the 330 mark there in right field. We saw Michael Curry hit one out to left field, a couple home runs. So, all in all, I had a fun day. I don't know about you guys, but it was really fun.
I really enjoyed seeing the left field bleacher completely filled to the brim.
For the first and only time this season.
Especially behind Tanner Dotson out there in left. Really cool to see. Yeah. Gatemen taking on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks tonight. More on that after this short break here on the Gatemen Pregame Show presented by South Coast Health.
When you're sick or injured, you want care when and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgentcare. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgentcare.
Welcome back to the Gatemen Pregame Show presented by South Coast Health. I'm Claudia Chikamian, joined by Gatemen pitching coach Jim Waller. So, Coach, first of all, Griffin Roberts is headed to the mound today. Last time he was here, it was the All-Star game. So what was it like seeing him pitch really well against the All-Stars?
Well, the All-Star game plus the whole season, I've really enjoyed him pitching because he's got 3-4 quality pitches. He's got a great 2-seam fastball in, probably the best breaking ball in the league up here, and he competes. And those are pretty good combinations.
Now, entering today, he leads the league in ERA and strikeouts. So what are you hoping he can continue to do really well in tonight's game?
I'm always hoping for that, but no. I mean, think about it, he's a great guy to root for, and just really enjoy watching him compete, and he does a great job doing it.
Now you mentioned Grant Wolfram is going second for the Gatemen tonight in pitching order. So what have you really seen out of him that he's been really doing well and improving on every time he goes to the mound?
Well, the thing about Grant is it's amazing. He's 6'7", 230 pounds. He throws strikes. And he's 90-91 on the left side. Got 3 pitches. He's added a split this summer, and he does a great job of complimenting Roberts.
Now, 2 tough losses this weekend at YD. So what's the main thing you want to hopefully rebound with the pitching side of things, especially against a struggling Harbor Hawks team?
Well, when it happened on the pitching, two people understand the All-Star game throws everything off. Roberts and Montgomery are 2 of my starters, so now you got a couple games that they would have started that you got to fill. And so that's one disadvantage of the All-Star game. It throws off the rotation. So really we're just getting the rotation back in order tonight to finish the last 10.
Now, and then Kevin Coulter is headed to the mound for Hyannis tonight. You guys, this is the 3rd time you guys have seen him this season. What have you really learned from him, and how can you guys kind of counter that tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be a great match. I can sit back and enjoy watching him and Roberts get after each other because pitching is going to dominate this game tonight. So 1 run somewhere may win this thing.
Great. Thanks, Coach.
All right, good girl.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Claudia. Sam Corman, Jacob Toby, and Connor Federico here on the Gatemen pregame show presented by South Coast Health. Big pitching matchup today for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. It's a guy that the Gatemen have seen before out of Mercer University in Macon, Georgia. It's Kevin Coulter.
Seen before, how about rocked before? The Gatemen have 2 wins against Kevin Coulter this season. Coulter from Mercer, like you said, has struggled a bit in this Cape League season. An ERA of 7.53 in 6 games he's pitched. The Hyannis Harbor Hawks have lost all of them, and that's sort of a disappointing summer for Coulter and the Harbor Hawks. An 0-5 record. This is a guy that the Gatemen have gotten to before, and they need to get to him again. Not only because you've seen his stuff before, but because he's a guy you've had success against. I think the Gatemen could really make it a 3rd rocking of Kevin Coulter, and they'd be well on their way to victory if they can do that.
But then again, with all that, all those losses with Kevin Coulter, the coaching staff still showing the confidence in him to keep putting him out there for more starts, because that's what the Cape League is about, is he's growing as a pitcher while he's here. And for the Gatemen, it's the ace.
That's all you have to say. It's Griffin Roberts. I was going to say Conine. Griffin Roberts for the Wareham Gatemen, who has been your ace all season long, leads the league in ERA, 1.93, I believe, and strikeouts with 34. He has just been dynamite. In his last outing, made an appearance at Brewster, was 2 innings, an earned run, not a big deal. It was just to get some work in before the All-Star game. Pitched in the All-Star game and let up a run, but John Topa out in center field made a diving effort. It just popped out of his glove at the last possible second, and it was a leadoff double for Josh Shaw, and then he scored on that next play on a fielder's choice. So he wouldn't have really let up that run if Topa made the catch. It was a nice attempt, I should say. But no, Griffin Roberts has been spectacular. In his outing before last, he had 8 strikeouts through 6 innings, I believe. So he's just been impressive all season long with that power fastball and slider.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty crazy to watch out of Wake Forest. Griffin Roberts back on the hill to start against the Harbor Hawks today. We'll send it to a quick break here on the Gatemen pregame show presented by South Coast Health.
When you're sick or injured, you want care when and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgentcare. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgentcare.
Welcome back to the Gatemen pregame show presented by South Coast Health. I'm Claudia Chikamian, joined alongside Tanner Dotson. So Tanner, first of all, this is the first time you guys are back home at Splain Field since the All-Star game. What was that experience like for you playing here in that game?
It was a lot of fun, just playing with the best guys in the Cape. It was a good time for all of us, and it's good to be home now.
And you guys had a few tough losses at YD this past weekend, but you had a very good day, including on Sunday with 4 singles. So what were you really able to attack at the plate that was going so well for you?
I was just being aggressive, trying to hit my pitch, not miss one, because you're not getting many to hit in this league. So we're just trying to rebound from that loss today and get a win.
And now you're entering today's game. You're leading the league in batting average once again, 382. So, the best part is you are listed as a pitcher on point streak. So what does it mean to you coming here and doing so well both at pitching and hitting?
I'm just having fun, a lot of fun out here. So just love that Don's letting me do both and my school's letting me do both out here.
And then now you guys are back. You had a little bit, kind of an off day yesterday, went to Fenway. So what was that experience like for you?
It was cool just going around the ballpark, and we got to hit in the cages. I mean, I wish we got to hit on the field, but it was still a good time.
Now, you said you guys want to really rebound in today's game, and Kevin Coulter is headed to the mound today for the Harbor Hawks, somebody that you guys have seen 3 times this season. So what have you really learned from him that you guys can maybe attack at the plate today?
We're just familiar with him and his stuff. We kind of already know how he pitches, so we can kind of plan a point of attack by that.
Great. Thanks, Tanner.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Claudia. A reminder that you can reach out to the Gatemen broadcast crew, pressbox@gatemen.org. That's pressbox@gatemen.org for questions, comments, and concerns regarding the Wareham Gatemen broadcasts. Also, follow the Gatemen on Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Facebook, Instagram, basically every social media that you can think of except for maybe, Foursquare or something. I don't even know what that is. But I'm here with Matt Feld for his segment Feld at the Field. And the Gatemen starting rotation has seen quite a change over the past few weeks. Joey Matulovic, Justin Glover no longer here, and those were some key starters. So how is that going to change down these last 9 games of the season?
Well, Griffin Roberts, who's kind of become the ace of the Gatemen staff, goes tonight. Then Noah Zavalos, a starter back at school, began the year as a reliever, now back as a starter for the Gatemen. Justin Montgomery will go Thursday. And then it gets a little interesting. Mason Fioli seems to have established himself as one of the key focal points for this Gatemen starting staff. And then I wouldn't be surprised if Grant Wolfram got a start here and there. He started back in Davenport before becoming a 7th man up here. Maybe Aaron Hernandez, who's looked pretty good. Limited action, but has shown a live arm around 92, 93 miles an hour. Maybe he gets a start. Wouldn't be surprised also, though, if the Gatemen just ended up going with a bullpen day, where you've got Roberts, Montgomery, Fioli, Zavalos, and that 5th day you just become a bullpen day. With 10 games to go, you only have to do that twice. So definitely interesting dynamic, but the Gatemen, if they can get into the playoffs, are set up pretty well at the top of that rotation.
And, only a few games left in the season. We're down to the less than about a fifth of the season to go. You have some key division games. Tonight against Hyannis, you have Bourne late in the season. You have Falmouth, you have Catuit still. How important are all these games coming up?
Well, the Western Division is pretty much all that's left on your schedule. You got 2 games against Orleans and 1 against Brewster, but 7 of the 10 left coming against the Western Division, including a final home and home against Bourne, who's 1.5 games in front of you for first place. So if the Gatemen can just tread water here for the next 6 or 7 games before they face the West in Falmouth and Bourne twice to close the season out, they can make a push not only to get into the playoffs but finish atop the Western Division. It's going to be all about, though, as we've said all the season long, the Gatemen win games when they get clutch 2-out singles and clutch 2-out hits. They usually fall by low-scoring games 3-2, 4-3 when they don't get those clutch 2-out hits, and they're going to need them tonight against the Hyannis team that's definitely going to want to get back at them.
Certainly going to be a lot to watch in these last 9-10 games of the season here. Thanks to our beat writer, Matt Feld. When we return on the Gatemen pregame show presented by South Coast Health, we'll get some keys to the game and a player to watch for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks.
When you're sick or injured, you want care when and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgent care. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgent care.
Welcome back to the Gatemen pregame show presented by South Coast Health. Jacob Toby and Connor Federico alongside myself, otherwise known as Sam Corman. And you are wearing a ridiculous sweater right now. And why is that? It's because it's July 25th, which apparently is associated with December 25th.
Christmas and July night at Spillane.
They're 5 months apart. I guess that's a real thing. That new holiday that I just found out about today. What does that say on it?
It says naughty or nice.
Jacob, get your mic out of the way so we can see the Santa. Yeah, Santa's reading off his list in Jacob's jacket. You can see the little presents. It's well stitched. It's right into the sweater. I appreciate it a lot.
I got it at Primark last year for, I believe, $25. That's a lot of money to spend on an ugly sweater.
There you go. Primark is the place, I guess.
Yeah.
In Boston.
You have a player to watch for us. He's out of Florida Atlantic. He's an owl.
Yeah.
What's his name?
It's Tyler Frank, and he had a brief stint with Team USA. Comes back now to the Cape for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, who have desperately missed his bat. He's only played in 8 games for Hyannis this summer. He's hitting at about a .226 clip, but he's capable of so much more than that. I know that number isn't really that great, but he's my player to watch tonight. It's probably about time for him to get in the swing of things for this summer in the Cape League after spending some time off the Cape in North Carolina with Team USA. He's probably ready to rock and roll and ready to help lead Hyannis to maybe their 2nd straight victory.
And Jacob, the Gatemen are 3-2 against the Harbor Hawks coming into today. That means today is the final meeting between these two teams. What's your key for the Gatemen to finish this season 4-2 against Hyannis?
Strike out this lineup if you are Griffin Roberts. Strike them out. They have the second least strikeouts among a lineup in all of the Cape League, so they don't strike out a ton. We know Griffin Roberts leads the league in strikeouts, so that's what he does. That's how he gets most of his outs with that slider. Such a great breaking pitch for Griffin Roberts out of Wake Forest. And this is a little stat that I compiled this morning. 4 out of the last 5 games for the Wareham Gatemen, they have struck out. The pitching staff has struck out at least 10 batters. They've struck out 13 once. That was versus Brewster. And they struck out 15 versus Chatham here in that 1-0 walk-off victory. So strike them out. Be very naughty to those Hyannis batters tonight.
It's going to be a pretty important game for the Gatemen. For the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, if they don't win this game, they could be very well looking, like they're not going to make the playoffs at all for certain.
Well, I mean, right now they're only 6 points behind the Gatemen. That equates to 3 wins and another 3 losses for the Gatemen. That's what the Harbor Hawks would need to catch them. This is an important game for the Gatemen, too, because if you lose this game, you're 3-3 to the Harbor Hawks. You already went 2-2 against the Harwich Mariners. That means you're 500 against the worst teams in the league that you really should have beaten, and that would have helped your case a lot more come playoff time. So I think if the Gatemen can win this game today, be 500 against those 2 last-place teams in the league, that would really help them a lot.
And if the Hyannis Harbor Hawks come away with a win, they're just 4 points behind Wareham for that final position in the West Division playoff run. That'll do it for the Gatemen pregame show presented by South Coast Health. Jacob Toby, Connor Federico, I'm Sam Corman. Be sure to stay tuned for the game action starting at 6:30 p.m. on the Gatemen Baseball Network.